basically information I could use in any other application. In this case, I just happen to have printed it on the form so that we can see it. And that is using the, as I said before, the form post method of communicating information to a server. If I click on the form and go to the properties of that form and change the method to get, and then I resave the form and preview that in Firefox, I want to show you the difference in what happens between a post and a get form. In this case, I will enter cut and dry, and I post that, and now I don't have the post information printout, even though I have that code in there. But what I do have is the information passed along as part of the URL. It's another way of passing information within a PHP or a server-side program from one page or one program to another. Using post is typically more secure, as is obvious, because you're not passing the information as part of the URL. Using get is only useful when you want to be able to pass the information as a saved location or a saved URL that you want to be able to pass in like an email, because you can't do that with post because it's a dynamic information. So let's go back into Dreamweaver. We now have our form working. I am going to go back to the post method, which we prefer in this case. And what we're going to do is replace this first text element with the Yahoo User Interface Calendar. So because I have already previously installed that in this Dreamweaver installation, I have it as part of my insert menu, both on the insert panel as well as in my menu system, my insert menu. So let's use it right there since I have that open. And what that will do is give me this widget, which has information about the calendar, mainly just the name. And I'm going to leave that as it is right now. And what I'll do is, the best way to see this quickly is to, do I want to save my file? Yes. Is to look at it in live mode. And there we have the calendar. And it seems to work. It's interactive to my movements and it has links, but it is really not doing anything. It's going to take some JavaScript to get the information that is submitted by this calendar, which is a date, and pass that into, and what we're going to do with JavaScript is put it into this date field that we created previously. So let's go back into code view and see what we got when we inserted that calendar widget. We inserted some link files, as you can see, through the Yahoo User Interface folders here. We also got some CSS files and we got some JavaScript files. But there's enough JavaScript that was inserted into the page when we inserted this to allow us to manipulate that widget on this page. So what we're going to do in this case is work within this function right here, because this select handler is what is activated when somebody selects a date on their calendar. So to do that, the first thing we'll do is just put the date, the information that's in there, into that field. And Yahoo User Interface gives us a utility to be able to manage the information using the document object model that we have spoken previously about. So let's, in this case, go and get that information. So we're going to create a new variable. This is using JavaScript called the date text field, and that is going to be the document element. Get element by, and I think we call that appointment date, just like that. And next I am going to say make the value text field dot value be equal to the data that is returned the top level of the array that is returned by this select handler. And then let's hit semicolon there, save this file, and because this is JavaScript, we should be able to see this interaction actually happen right on the field. And we do. We see date information being passed now from the calendar to the date field. As you can see, as I go, let's say to April 15th, I have 2010, 4, 15, or 4, 1, 28. So we do have the interactivity. This might not be exactly the format that we want. So what I am going to do is integrate another code snippet that will then convert that date into a date that would be more usable. In fact, a PHP date. So, and that code snippet is sitting in the PDF support file that we provided, and that is this function right here, which will create a date into a string, and first we'll turn the information into a date using this built-in function right here. So what I'm going to do is first I'm going to copy this snippet and put that, I need to put that outside of the event handler. So I'm going to put it right above it, which is right here, and paste that. And next I am going to take this whole new snippet of code and put that in place here and explain what that does. What I need to do here is put appointment date, and what this does is get that same data. It goes a level down into the array because in fact the data is passed back as an array element of an array element that contains 3 elements: the year, the month, and the day. So I break that apart. I pass that over as a date to this function, which then converts it to a string that lays it out with the day of the week. So the best way to see this work is to go back into Firefox to preview it. And if I go and manipulate the date, you can see I have a working date. I have an actual, by clicking on this button, which we know all it really returns is a string of year, month, day. I am then able to turn that into a date, determine what the day of the week is, and turn that back into a string, which I can then put onto the form, which can then be submitted with better value information on it. So a couple of more things I can do just